I'm coming out and saying it. I love albums. I love buying music. I love putting them on display, having them in my background. I love looking through inside the cover art, as you can see right here. I even love buying huge deluxe versions. Barely even an album anymore, just kind of like a book, which is awesome and I appreciate. And I'm even willing to spend an unreasonable amount of money probably on something like this. But this is fucking absurd. If somehow you haven't heard the news, Taylor Swift has broken the record for most amount of album sales in a first week, topping Adele's 25 with her recent The Life of a Showgirl. But there's one key difference in the way that both these artists went about attaining these numbers to achieve this record. Within this short amount of time since Taylor Swift's album has been out, she has released 34 different variations of her album to artificially boost her numbers, with each version coming together to fuel her sales as one. That's 18 CDs, 8 vinyls, 1 cassette, and 7 download variants. And all of those sales are being taken as individual ones, all to go towards the numbers of this album. That is just flat out ridiculous. And I feel like even if you're the biggest Taylor Swift fan, you can at least acknowledge that you aren't even playing by the same set of rules at that point if you're trying to go for numbers, if you're trying to go for records, or overall just the way that you calculate the amount of sales and success that an album gets. Adele and Taylor Swift are not even playing the same sport. They're playing completely different games by completely different other rules that it doesn't even make sense to compare it, to be honest. And the reason why I feel like this is so important to bring up too is because it casts an even further dark shadow on, motivations for art. Because honestly, you take a look at something like this, and it's so apparent that the main priority here is getting as much sales as possible. It's about the money side of it, the greed, the amount of numbers, the streams, how big can we get our album to get, as opposed to focusing on the art of it, okay? I know that's a high task in general to ask of like hugely popular music. I get that. But the first thing that I think of when I see 34 different variations within this short amount of time is that these are not the actions of like an artist. They're the actions of a CEO. Like, of course, Taylor Swift's a great businesswoman. She would be an excellent CEO and is in a sense her own CEO and a good businesswoman. But there's something a little bit unnerving when an apparent artist is so focused, and it seems like their main priority is about numbers, sales, charts, doing everything in their power to make sure that they break the record by any means necessary of a previous album. Like, you're going to these lengths just to accomplish this? I feel like it's a self-admission that your album can't stand on its own to only be sold as 1 or 2 different variations, that you need 30 plus to make up for no substance. This weird amount of greed, I feel like, has no place in what should be considered as like an art piece. Because if you take a look at all these variations, man, she is dripping, like she is putting little small droplets of new and different content into each variation to just extend and milk every last drop she can out of her fans. And it just comes across as weird. Orange vinyl variation, we have a poster and perfume as well with the CD variation. We have the cassette perfume variation. And one of the weirdest examples of this is when she released a variation to only be available for 6 hours. How desperate are you for immediate numbers and sales? Taylor Swift announces The Life of a Showgirl Deluxe So Punk on the Internet version, only available for 6.5 hours. I mean, come on, man. Even if you're a Taylor Swift fan, especially considering how the album turned out, it feels like she's putting more time and effort into the marketing campaign and all these different variations to break records, as opposed to putting an effort to actually improve your sound, doing something different, trying to make more interesting music. It seems like that's on the back burner. That's like the 5th priority in terms of everything else on her radar. And this is what I'm talking about too, these drips of content to milk out as much as possible. Bro, she's saying that she has exclusive voice memos. Voice memos is what's exclusive about this version? Are you kidding me? I'm gonna buy multiple different versions so I could get these 2 voice memos in this version, and then I'm gonna spend another $30 on this version so I could get this voice memo. Do you know what normal artists do? They release an album, maybe a couple like colored vinyl variants, and then they release a deluxe album with all of the exclusive different content, so you don't have to buy all these different versions. You don't have to spend $30 here, $40 here, $20 on this CD. You get all of the content in just the deluxe. This Smashing Pumpkins record record, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, this was like 80, maybe $100, but it was completely worth it. Look at this. I mean, this is like a whole book. You have so much stuff that comes with it. All this different cover art. You have a whole booklet going over lyrics and whatnot. Look at this. There's pictures talking about music videos, like concept arts, the ideas behind the songs. This is the lyric book you could see right here. Very well done, very awesome. And then you have the vinyls. But if I was a Taylor Swift fan, I would have to buy like, this would be like 8 different versions. This would be stretched out into for me to buy all of this content. That's not normal, and no one should pretend it's normal, okay? There's a reason why no one has ever done this before to this insane scale. I know people like to bring up Taylor Swift isn't the only person who's done this. Take a look at Olivia Rodrigo. She put out like 14 different variations of her Guts album, which I don't agree with. I think that's like already too much. I don't know why you're doing all that. But let's be honest, 14 different variations is nowhere close to 30 plus, man. And this isn't new for Taylor. This most recently is just when she finally beat the record, but that Tortured Poets Department album had 36 different variations, man. It's a level of greed that is unsettling to see from an apparent artist. It's not just good marketing. It goes a level further. It's exploitation. Of course, she's not forcing her fans into buying her albums. Everybody can make their own decision. Everybody has their own choices, of course. But as I was saying, every other artist, every other band just puts all of their content in one deluxe, doesn't milk out as much as possible. Taylor Swift announces the Life of a Showgirl Deluxe, so glamorous version, available until midnight. Like, bro, you're putting like these hard restraints on available until midnight to try to like pressure your fans into buying it as soon as possible. It's weird. I would expect to see this from like a huge corporation or whatever doing like some kind of like ad campaign from this. Like Taylor Swift has made it that you will never be able to top her numbers in the future unless you stoop as low as her. Unless you stoop to dropping 30 plus variations of your album for you to even try to get close to her numbers. It's just a joke and something that should not be a standard in the industry. I mean, even the most like corporate manufactured music groups in the world, like K-pop groups or whatever, they don't do this. They don't have this level of greed and exploitation. This is a unique Taylor Swift thing. So it's like, yeah, you broke records, but at what cost? Just under complete shameless corporate greed? This is a lesser point in comparison to what I've been saying before, but I think it's still worthy to bring up, is that I also don't like the undermining of the album cover. You know, as time has gone on, the album cover and the visuals to an album, you know, your first impression for the music is so important. It's, you know, been groundbreaking. I mean, seeing something, you know, a basic Boomer example is like Abbey Road or whatever. That has just become an iconic piece of media that you see referenced everywhere. And it's shown like the great importance. I mean, even that In Utero Nirvana cover, people wear shirts with that angel on. It's not even knowing the band Nirvana. Like it's become like equivalent to streetwear at this point. And that's how important album covers are. But Taylor Swift has like all these different variations and versions, which are just different photos from different photo shoots, kind of undermining the importance of like one cohesive album cover. Like I'm just looking at all these and like, which one is the album at this point? Like if you see all of these on the shelf at like Target or whatever, which one is actually the album at this point? There's all these different variations from different photo shoots. It's just kind of lame. Don't mistake what I'm saying though, is that you can't market your album. Obviously, if you're releasing an album, you also simultaneously want to market it and make sure that people hear it in the first place, okay? I'm not as pretentious to say that you cannot market your album at all, okay? That's the true, raw, indie way of doing it. No, you can market your album, you can pay for advertising space, you can do any of the sort, that's completely fine. It's just when it reaches an unreasonable level like this, it just rubs me the wrong way. And I feel like rubs a lot of people the wrong way, which is why a lot of people are talking about this lately. As an artist, you should not be doing actions equivalent to a corporation. As an artist, your main priority and goal should be the arts, should be the music, should be the content in what you're trying to give to people. Not all the strings attached, not the ad campaign, not all these different variations that you could come up with. And it seems like that's just the main priority, and where Taylor Swift's like real goals are set is to get numbers, get sales, break records, but as a result, the actual content of her music is suffering. And not to be exaggeratory, but that's kind of the death of art, okay? Is when we get so corporate, where we start doing that, we start focusing on everything else but the actual substance of it. So yeah, that's my general thoughts. Wanted to bring this up, wanted to point out because I think it's an important thing, but let me know if you guys agree agree. If you like the video, like, subscribe if you want as well. Thank you for watching. There's plenty of other videos you could check out exactly like this. Thanks for the Patreon enjoyers, viewers. If you want to shout out the end of these videos, you can sub to the Patreon as well for tiers 2 and 3. You get exclusive access to a Discord channel for call-ins when I stream. But yeah, appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see you next time.